Have you ever felt physically stuck in a rut and unable to get in better shape? Well, if that's the case, then today's show and interview with the Boise-based fitness expert and the founder of Cavell Fit is for you.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Oh yes, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrivetime Show on your radio and podcast download. And on today's show, we are interviewing the man, the myth, the legend, the fitness guru in the know, our good friend from the great state of Idaho, where there is never a potato famine when he's in charge. It's Mr. Brett Denton. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks, Clay. Always fun to be here.
Now, Brett, tell the listeners out there, because we have some people who've never heard your incredible voice on the show before. Tell the listeners out there about your business, Cavell Fitness, what they can find if they go to cavellfit.com. Just give us a little bit into your background so that we know that you are, in fact, a credible fitness guru.
Yeah, so Cavell Fitness and Nutrition, we do group training of, groups of 10 to 30 people. And basically our entire goal is to transform the way that people live in a way that is sustainable for the rest of their life. So we're taking normal Joes, we're taking Navy SEALs, we're taking 83-year-old grandmas, we're taking everybody, and we're helping them improve their quality of life as efficiently and effectively as possible.
And at Cavell Fit, it's KVELL fit.com. Check it out today, Thrive Nation. If you live in the Boise area, it's a no-brainer. Go check out his business. But what does Cavell mean? What's the origin? What's the history of the word Cavell?
Well, Cavell is a Yiddish word, and what it actually means is happy and proud, especially in community. And that's exactly what we're working to create for our clients and really everybody who comes into contact with us, our staff, or our people.
This morning when Andrew arrived for today's recording, he looked at me and I looked at him and I started speaking Yiddish to him.
did?
And I'd never spoken it before, and I don't know if I was doing it correctly, and he couldn't interpret it either, so I'm glad that you also speak Yiddish. Now, Brett, we're talking today about how you can't out-train a bad diet. The 3 most important choices of your day. And you have 3 moves. You have 3 moves you're teaching us today as we're talking about you can't out-train a bad diet. The 3 most important choices of your day. So move number 1, you write, is what? What's move number 1? What's the first move?
Well, the first move, and here's the thing, Clay, everybody's busy. I know very few people in the business world or in general who just aren't super, super busy and don't have time to squeeze anything else in. And this is probably the most frequent reason that we have for people not exercising or not eating right or not doing these things. And so when it comes down to it, step 1 or move 1 is making the right choice these 3 times a day. So what are you going to eat for breakfast? What are you going to eat for lunch? And what are you going to eat for dinner? If you start out with those 3 choices and making the better choice, doesn't always have to be the perfect or the right choice, but the better choice, you're going to be far better off. One of those reasons is hopefully you're already eating, right? So let's say you're not eating lunch. Okay, great. Well, what choice are you going to make for breakfast and dinner? Start there because that's going to have the biggest impact on you. Dr. Mark Hyman, who's a physician, he says, you can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. I couldn't agree with him more on this. What I tell people is, hey, they're like, I've heard that exercise or nutrition is about 80% of it. And what I tell people is, no, it's 100% of it. Because if you eat wrong, there's no way that you're going to exercise enough to outrun all those calories you're eating.
Now let's play a game. Brett, can I play a game for just? I want to play a game. I want to play a game. Can I play a game?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, here's my game. Let's say that I want to try to out-train a bad diet. Okay, let's just play this game. So let's say that I decide to get some large fries today. All right, so I go out and I say, I want large fries. I want sweet potato fries, or I'm healthy. They're organic sweet potato fries. I go to Five Guys. Maybe I go to In-N-Out Burger. Do you have an In-N-Out Burger in Boise, by the way, Brett? Do you have an In-N-Out?
We are unfortunate enough to not have an In-N-Out Burger. Yeah.
And in Boise, do you guys have that restaurant chain known as the Burger Palace, or what do you guys have there?
we're in Boise, Idaho, so we have McDonald's, we have
Okay.
some Burger Kings, we have the big guys. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just say I go out there and have one large fry. How many burpees do I have to do in order to repent for my large fries?
Well, everybody's favorite, cardio exercise, the burpee, of course. And so according to heartcorestudio.com, they actually made a calculator for this. Now,
I hate this
depends
game.
on how much you weigh, and there's some crazy facts that go into this. But if you're a 130-pound individual, which, Clay, I know you're watching your waist, but you might not be close to that yet. So let's say
130.
you're 180 pounds. Okay, so 349 burpees. For a large fry. 349.
349 burpees?
Oh, yeah. Hey, well, that's if you're 180. Now, if you're 130, it's actually 524. So,
Okay, wait. Let's just say, screw that, man. I'm just going to have an IPA beer. Local beer. It's like local. It's got a story to it. All the local beer has a story to it. It's like some guy named Geppetto had took a reclaimed brick building in the heart of some downtown, and he used to run around in that. It was a place where homeless people used to live, and he used to run in there with his buddies, and they would take Instagram photos while shooting off flares at each other. And
They had wood from the Mayflower.
Yeah, they had wood from the Mayflower, and they somehow reclaimed the barnwood, reclaimed the brick, and the heart of downtown, and a bunch of hipsters by the name of Skylar started their own microbrewery. So you walk in there to support your downtown urban renewal project, and you go in there and you get yourself one local IPA beer. How many burpees do we have to do to repent for the sins of the IPA beer?
well, our petite 130-pound person is at 204 burpees for that one IPA. 204.
I don't like this game at all. Let's do another. Let's do a couple more. This game. I mean, this game. Eventually, this game's going to be good. So far, it's really taken the room to a down. But Marshall, this next one, let's see if you can guess. Okay, here we go. So, one Domino's slice of pepperoni pizza.
Like an entire pipizza or like
One
just a slice?
Now, here's what I see in our office, Marshall. Now, you tell me if I'm lying. I see people not named you that will order in this temptation.
The temptation of Domino's.
You are like the Lord of Lust when it comes to bringing in the pizza.
They text you at 10 o'clock. They're like, feeling hungry? And I'm like, I am feeling
Brett,
hungry.
listen, we're talking about, you're like the priest of fitness. Marshall wants to confess. How often have you ordered in a Domino's pizza into the office, the Mr. Lord of Lust?
Less than 100 times, more than 70 times.
When you order in the pizza, don't you typically eat all of it except for the slice that I steal?
Yes.
Okay. So Brett, I mean, if he's having what do you have, 6 slices or 7?
Well, I think there's only 3 slices in the pizza, and so I can only be having 2.
Well, Brett, if he has an entire pizza, dude, I mean, if he has even one slice of pepperoni pizza, okay, Marshall, I want to get your guess on this.
Okay.
How many burpees do you think that you have to do to repent for your sins of eating the pepperoni pizza there, Marshall? How many burpees?
I'm probably going to have to do 300 burpees.
Brett, what's the number?
So that's because Marshall's about 10 feet tall, he'll have to do a few less. But about 182 burpees, for a tall individual, that's a challenging feat to have.
For an entire pizza?
Burpees.
For an entire pizza?
No.
For an entire piece of pizza. So if you eat the whole pizza, let's assume you got 8 pieces on there.
Right.
That's about 1,500 burpees.
That's actually 1,456 burpees. Okay, one more. I'll let you guess here, Andrew. You can take your stab at this game here, okay? Let's say that you decide, you know what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to go to McDonald's, because I'm in Boise, and you decide to have 1 egg McMuffin.
Ooh.
Now, I know the listeners out there don't ever get anything extra with the muffin. They just get the muffin alone. A lot of people they just eat just the meat only. But let's just say you're the kind of guy who has 1 egg McMuffin. You don't have any drink with it, no orange juice, nothing. How many burpees do you think you have to do to repent for your sins of your McLovin' that McMuffin?
I would say probably 120, 125.
How close is he there, Brett?
So 130-pound individuals at 314, 180-pound individuals at 210.
Oh, wow.
So step 1, we have to go ahead and – are you saying that we should write down what we're going to eat ahead of time, Brett Denton?
I think it's a good idea, and every single person I've ever worked with who does a food journal and figures out not only what they're going to eat ahead of time, so pre-plans it, but then writes it down as they do it, always sees better results.
Wow. All right. So Andrew, Marshall,
Start writing it down.
Start journaling.
Jason.
Monday, full pizza. Tuesday, full pizza.
Just make sure you write your burpees down with it.
Okay. Now let's move on to exercise move number 2. Move number 2. Brett, teach us move number 2.
Yeah, so, when you look at exercise, same thing here. We're not trying to have somebody add an extra hour to their day, which is, usually what people think they need to do. They think they need to go to the gym or go for a run or whatever, and they just can't find that extra 60 minutes or even 30 minutes to add to their day. And so what you want to start looking at is how can you fit it into your day of the things that you're already doing. Now, here's a fun statistic for you. Half of the U.S. adult population does not currently attain the recommended level of physical activity.
Half?
Well, it's half.
Negative. You're a negative man. Continue.
That's right. And then 30% of the population reports doing no moderate to physical activity a day. So that's like nothing. That's like I sit at my desk and I go home and I go to bed and I wake up and I do it again. And I think a lot of people find themselves in this boat once they stop to think about it. And so, that begs the question, okay, well, what is the recommended? And so the recommended amount is somewhere between the range of about 150 to 300 minutes per week. Now, that might sound like a lot, especially if you're not doing anything. But if you simply start to add 5 minutes of exercise to your day every day, you say, okay, week 1 or month 1, I'm going to just 5 minutes. So I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go for a brisk walk. That's moderate. Or I'm going to garden for 5 minutes. Or I'm going to do some of these things that you wouldn't normally think is exercise actually fulfill that requirement. So you start looking at ways you can fit that in. Park further away, walk up the stairs, things that you've heard about before but just haven't implemented yet.
I have a question for you, and this might be something that you get asked a lot. But as a business owner, I find usually once a day before about 7 a.m., Marshall,
Yes.
7 a.m., because I say I am not going to freak out today. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to allow myself to get upset. No. Not going to allow it. Not going to, here we go. Woosah. So I go into work, Brett, 6 in the morning, I go in there, calm. Here we go. Start that first meeting at 6 a.m. And by about, 6:09?
Yes.
Marshall, America brings out the inner Kobe Bryant in me, the inner Michael Jordan, the inner Dragon energy, the inner Kanye West, the inner Cobra. And it causes me to get upset, right? So I get upset. And then I start to get do you burn any calories getting upset? Does that help? Freaking
Well,
out.
you can, but that doesn't make it physical activity. So the goal of physical activity isn't necessarily calorie burn, and this is where people kind of get
I was
a little
ripped
bit
based on this standard.
Oh.
I thought I was ripped. I was like, yeah, I'm very intense all the time. High intensity mindset all day. Okay, so just getting intense at work, that doesn't help you. But in our office, for somebody out there who has an office like we do, talk to me about things we could do on a daily basis. I mean, you said gardening. What else could we do on a daily basis? If somebody out there is going, okay, I'll give you 20 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, or what are some things I can even do while at work?
Yeah, and before we get to that, I want to make sure everybody kind of understands the difference between physical activity and just burning calories. And so this weird thing happens when we have physical activity every day. People sleep better, you feel better, and you function better. The physical activity reduces the risk of a large number of diseases and conditions. And so we don't know all the mechanisms behind that yet, but we want to get out there and get active. And that's based on the 2018 Physical Activity Guidelines Advisory Committee report. Now, what can you do? Okay, so, you guys are big, strong guys, so you could knock out some push-ups, right? So in the middle of the day, boom, hit some push-ups.
Boom.
And the next time, hit some squats. When you go to the bathroom, sit on the toilet 10 times instead of just sitting down once. Start looking.
I was wondering what Marshall was doing in the stall the other day.
I know.
Here he was
Good.
he read these show notes ahead of time.
Yeah, that's right.
He's doing squats in there. That's kind of weird, Marshall. Okay, wow. Okay, so no, seriously, these are things you could do. I mean, this is practical stuff. You could, during the middle of the day, do 5-6 push-ups, boom. You could do a little squats, could do some stretching. A lot of people are working at desks, frickin' desks, sitting at those desks. sitting weird, leaning over, typing stuff. How horrible is a desk for people just sitting there? Just tell us the bad news.
So sitting for any more than about 30 minutes starts to shut down metabolism and drastically increases risk of death from all kinds of preventable diseases. So it's a terrible, horrible thing for human beings. And so the biggest thing when you're sitting at a desk, like just get up and walk around every 5 minutes, And if you walk around every 30 minutes, walk for 5 minutes. So 30 and 5. And if you do that, all day you're at work, you're going to start racking up those minutes to get to that 150, 300 minutes per week.
Now, we have standing desks. Most members of our team have a standing desk. You're saying if we sit for more than 30 minutes, it's bad?
Yeah, or stand. So it's the movement that is needed. So standing is better than sitting.
Okay.
But what ends up happening is we stand and we lean over our desk and we still don't move. And so we got to move.
Got to move. Now, that's why, by the way, when we do today's podcast, you're going to hear around the 29-minute mark, you're going to hear what some could call someone hanging up on you. And it's not that I'm doing that, it's that I'm getting movement. So I have to move. I'm going to move. We got to move around. Marshall, we got to move around. We got to move around. Okay.
Gotcha.
We got about a half hour of power here to devour all that is good from Brett Ditton because we can't all attend Cavell Fit unless we live in Boise. But Brett, for someone out there who says, I'd like to hire you as my personal get in shape coach remotely. Can people do that? Is that possible?
That is possible. I do personal performance coaching for people to help them not only get fit, but just kind of figure out how to go after life with a much stronger conviction and intensity.
What does that cost, by the way? Is it $7? Is it $7,000? What's the going rate?
So it depends on the situation, but it's around about $1,000 a month to work with me to really kind of get your performance dialed in whatever area of life that you're looking to kind of take it to another level.
Got it. Okay, now this move number 3. You have move number 3. Talk to us about this third super move that the Thrivers can use.
Yeah, so here's the thing. So, we've covered nutrition, we've covered kind of the low intensity to moderate intensity activity, and those things need to be done no matter what. And then we got the people who want to take it up to another level. You got business owners who are typically intense people, right? And so you look at high intensity training as that next tool. And the good thing about this is we can get maximum results in a minimum amount of time. So it's both effective and efficient. And that's really what a lot of super busy people are looking for. That's what people come to Cavell Fitness for, is because there's no fluff. We're going to get them what they need to in the shortest amount of time. And so according to Dr. Gibala, he's a professor at the kinesiology at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. And he did a study on HIT, which is high intensity training. You also might see it as HIIT, high intensity interval training. And he said that in his study, the physiological effects of the high intensity training, which was a much shorter and higher burst of energy, was the same as performing slow, long work periods. So you can get the same amount of stuff done in a much shorter period of time if you just crank up the intensity, crank up the volume on that intensity.
And I think this is so if you're out there and you're saying, I want to crank up the effectiveness of my workout, you got to kind of have this music in your head right here, Marshall. It's kind of that intensity, right? You got to be ready to crank it up, Marshall.
I feel like we're in a dark industrial park.
Right, but luckily I have a flare gun and Brett Ditton and an IPA beer. But no, seriously, I think you have to be. That was a good. I really feel like you did a great job describing what that music sounded like. Okay, so if you're out there though, Brett, and you're going, I'm not familiar with this high intensity training, and I live in Florida. I live in Delaware. I live in let me impersonate someone in Delaware. Hi, everybody. I'm in Delaware. Yeah. All right. So someone's in Delaware. Where can they find this high intensity training that you speak of?
Well, they can find it in their own home. You don't need anything special for this type of training. What you need is the discipline to be able to get after it. So I'll give you an example. So in the study, Dr. Gibala basically had people hop on a stationary bicycle, and he had them do an all-out effort for 30 seconds. So this is like as close to 100% as possible. Now, you have to train to get to that point, but, it was pretty intense. And then he had them rest for 4 minutes.
Okay.
So we talked about burpees earlier today. So let's say, and he did a subsequent study where it was only 20 seconds because what he found out was that last 10 seconds of that 30 was just people wanted to die. And so he took it off and said, hey, can we get the same result without so long of a time period? And he did. And so, let's
good.
go 20. Yeah, go ahead.
This is so good. This is so good. So again, this is Brett. If someone is out there listening right now, and they're looking for maybe the right kind of gym because they're going, I love what I'm hearing right now. Could they reach out to you? Could you maybe, as part of your consulting fee, maybe recommend the right kind of program for them? I mean, someone could call you and say, hey, I'm 45 years old. Could they pay you maybe $1,000 or something for you to kind of tell them the right kind of program for them and where they should go? Could you do that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's a whole part of the program. We find out what's around them, what the best situation is for them, if they even need to go to a gym at all. And we really customize the plan to make it work for them.
Okay, back to you. I wanted to tap into your wisdom there because I know there's somebody out there listening going, I love what I'm hearing. I just don't know how to take action here. Back to you, sir.
Okay, so so let's say, okay, you got 20 seconds that you got to go all out effort, right? So anybody can do almost anything for 20 seconds. And so we're going to let's go back to our burpee situation here, right? So set a clock, and they got these Tabata timers now on your app. You can look up Tabata timer and get a phone app for it, and you can set it. So you're going to go 20 seconds, and you're going to do burpees, or you're going to do mountain climbers, you're going to run upstairs, or you're going to do sprints, you're going to do something that you can do in high intensity, hop on a stationary bike. And so you want to get right up into that 80, 90, 100 percentile range when it comes to effort. And then you're going to rest for 4 minutes. So 4 minutes, we're going to drop the heart rate. We're going to get your breathing back under control. And then we're just going to do that 2 more times. Then we're done for the day. That's a total of about 10 minutes of working out. And so we add that 10-minute high-intensity workout. And here's the thing with the high-intensity stuff. You don't even have to do it every day. You don't even want to do it every day because you actually get better results and better performance if you do it about every other day.
Every other day.
Every other day. Yeah, because if you do it every day, this is what one of the issues with this high intensity kind of fad that's going around is these gyms are popping up and they're a high intensity. Well, people end up going every day and they end up beating themselves up because every day you can't be at max intensity. That's like an Olympic sprinter going out and doing an Olympic race every single day. Well, eventually your body's going to break down and it's not going to perform as well. So we want to go every other day or every 2 days.
Marshall didn't ask me for permission. He just said, I'm going to do it, which is kind of the entrepreneurial mindset.
That's right.
You want to just do the action and ask for forgiveness later.
Yep.
And he mic'd me up there, and I put one of those, you call it a kombucha timer there, Brett?
Kombucha, Tabata.
Tabata. Oh, okay. I want to make sure you weren't advocating kombucha beverages, like a shameless plug, like product placement. So it's what was it, Kombata?
Tabata, yeah, or just the interval timer.
Tabata interval timer. So I got one of those apps. I set it out there, Marshall.
Yeah.
And then I decide I'm going to do for 21 seconds.
Okay.
I'm going to do burpees.
Okay.
And you, without asking,
That's right.
you set up a shotgun microphone to capture. What kind of microphone would you use? Probably a Shure brand. Would you use a Sennheiser?
It'd probably be a Sennheiser shotgun microphone, and I did it secretly without your permission.
And what kind of recorder did you run it into? You run the XLR recorder?
Probably like an H4n, something like that.
Right. So you're recording this great, and this is what I sounded like, and I don't appreciate you recording it by the way. But this is what I sounded like. I just want to cue this up here.
Oh man, that's cold. I'm a maniac on the floor, and I'm dancing like I've never danced before.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
I think
Sounds about right.
I think a lot of people, they start working out, they do 21 seconds of a workout, and they're like, I'm done. We got the yoga pants, got the sweat-repelling shirt on.
That's right.
We got all the accoutrements. I got a new pair of shoes on. I got the new Adidas, new Nike. I got some kind of shoe. I had a custom shoe made for me by the New Balance guy. Mm-hmm. And then they go work out for 21 seconds, and they quit. Brett, what can we do out there if we're a perpetual starter and stopper in the world of fitness? Does everybody need a coach or a trainer or a class? What do you recommend? Because I think a lot of people are knowing what to do as a result of this great teaching from you, but then we start and stop. We start, we stop. What's going on?
Yeah, based on what we've seen from our own clients, there's in the population in general, there's about 10 to 15% of the population who's going to work out no matter what. They're always going to be fit. They could benefit from a coach, but they don't need one. They're always going to kind of be there. And then you got that middle population who really wants to be fit, but they really have to have a coach and they need some accountability. And then you got the top or lower echelon of people who just don't care about fitness and they don't care about being fit. But the bulk of the people, 60 to 70, maybe even 75% of people need a coach. And that might be a weird thing to say, but if they want to get in shape, they really need a coach. They need somebody to, number one, tell them, the best way to do things. Because again, we just talked about today, you don't need that much time to exercise and eat right. You just need to do it right. And so it helps to have a coach say, here's exactly what you need to do. Number two, we need accountability, because even though we're only working out for 10 minutes a day with this, not everybody can do that if they don't have the accountability, because it's, life gets in the way, right? We have kids to drop off. We have business to do. We have things to do in our life that sometimes get in the way of that 10 minutes. And we always put it off, and we say, I'm going to start Monday. It's the perpetual, I'm going to start Monday. And so once people finally commit by putting resources into it, so whether that be money or time or buying equipment or whatever it is, they're more likely to actually follow through and exercise. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. You need somebody who's going to keep you consistent, because in exercise and fitness and health, consistency is more important than anything else. You could almost pick anything in the form of physical activity and eating right. And if you do it consistently, you're going to get healthier.
Now, what we're going to do is we're talking about how to achieve success in the area of fitness today on the Thrivetime Show. Marshall Morris is going to hit you like a kung pao punch, like a kung fu, like he's been practicing some sort of martial arts. Marshall, you see that? I did that.
Yeah, I see
impressive.
what you did there.
He's going to come in there. Hey, everybody, I'm from Delaware. And he's going to come in there, and he's going to bring the intensity. He's going to hit you with a question you're not ready for, Brett, about fitness at the workplace, getting in shape, eating healthy, working out. He's going to ask you a fitness question that he or one of his clients would probably like to know. Andrew is going to hit you with another tough question. And then Jason's going to hit you with a question like he's from Delaware. Hey, everybody, I'm from Delaware. So, all right. So, Marshall, what is your first hot question for Brett Ditton, the fitness expert?
Is there a specific time where it's best to work out during the day? Is it best to do it like before the workday or at the end of the workday, or take like a long lunch and go work out? Is there a time where I will benefit the most for working out? This is my question. Brett, what do you got for us?
Yeah, and I got two answers for you. One of them is whenever you can fit it in.
Okay.
Right?
Oh,
And that's
in your
the biggest
face.
thing.
In
my
your
face.
In your face, Marshall.
In your face.
Stupid question. All
Whenever you
right.
can fit it in. That's the biggest thing, because people always, you're kind of, and this is what people do in general. You just dig into the weeds and you try and make it perfect before it's even anything's happening. Like, what shoes should I get? Well, I don't know. Why don't you try and go for a walk first? When should I exercise? I don't know. Just exercise. Now, I'm gonna take that now to the scientific realm. So in the book, The Power of Full Engagement, they discuss kind of how the hormones are all adapted and all that. And for most people who are on a regular circadian rhythm, right around 5 p.m. is when your body actually has the most, is kind of like primed for physical activity and working out. In the morning, a lot of people like to work out in the morning because they can get out of the way, which is great. And I don't want to tell anybody not to do that, because whenever you can do it is when you can do it, and that always supersedes everything else. But in the morning, you just got to make sure you get a little bit longer warm up, because when we sleep all night, we're kind of laying on our back and we get fluid and liquid built up in the spine. And so that's why a lot of people get hurt there in the morning. So they don't get enough warm up to get that fluid massaged out of the spine. They don't get the body warm enough. So that's kind of the two-part answer for that, Marshall.
Okay.
What was this book title again?
The Power of Full Engagement.
I'm going to put that on the show notes there. The Power of Full Engagement. You see that, guys? I'm fully engaged. I'm not drifting around. I'm not surfing around the internet. I'm not on social media. No. I'm focused. And that's the kind of intensity you expect here on a show such as a show so great and so humble like the Thrivetime Show. Now, Andrew, are you ready to ask your question?
Absolutely.
Good, because Jason's going first.
Yes.
Jason, are you ready to answer your question?
Absolutely.
Good, because Andrew's going first. Andrew, back to you.
All right. So a lot of people who do work in an office, or a lot of the business owners we work with, they're usually just constantly running around all day, and they don't always have time to sit down and eat a meal from 9 to 5, and then they get home and then they eat at like 8. So why is it so important to make sure you eat healthy meals throughout the day? And why is it important to, maybe meal prep so that way you're not tempted throughout the day to eat Domino's or anything like that?
Brett, I'm sorry about the poor question he just asked. What a terrible question. I'm just kidding. Brett, we'd love to get your answer on that.
Well, two things. Again, kind of two answers here. Number one, when you have the self-control to be able to go home and eat a good, healthy, nutritious meal at 8 o'clock, not eating during the day is not as big as a deal. So when we were way back in the day, when we were hunter-gatherers, you ate when you could eat. So it wasn't like we didn't eat a breakfast at 8 o'clock and a lunch at 1 o'clock and a dinner at 6 o'clock. It didn't really work that way. The main problem is people don't have the self-control to be able to handle their hormones and that tell them eat whatever you can stuff in your face and as much as you possibly can when you get home from not eating all day and having a stressful day. So that's where the real problem is. And so that's why we want to say, okay, let's start eating during the day so that you don't have that overwhelming hunger at night where you're just going to stuff your face with as much as you possibly can, which is where people get in trouble.
Right.
And so prep, that's where, again, it can be a little bit tough. So that's why there's a lot of these meal services popping up for people who just don't have time to prep. And one of the things that people don't know is like private chefs in most places don't cost that much money. They come into your house every Saturday. They do all the prep for you. They do the cooking for you. You warm up the food. And so I'd highly encourage people kind of look into that because you can get that for a fairly economical rate if you do your shopping. But without prep, without getting something in place, you're just going to grab whatever it is. And usually that whatever it is something that's not going to satisfy what you need to achieve your goals.
All right. Oh, I have a fun factoid out there for people who might think that it's a little bit over the top to have a private chef. A little bit of rap knowledge. Brett, are you familiar with Slick Rick?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Slick Rick, the old rapper. Marshall, are you familiar with Slick Rick?
Yep.
Slick Rick it was one of the first rappers to really gain mainstream traction. And one of the things that he began to do when he was doing his contracts is he wanted to be – I'll pull it up on the big screen, Andrew, so you can see this character.
Got it.
He started to demand that he had to be carried at all times on a throne into rooms. He wanted that in his contract, and they wouldn't do it. And he thought they were being unreasonable. So if you're out there and you're saying it might seem unreasonable to ask for a private chef, no, that's not unreasonable. What is unreasonable is asking for people to carry you around in your personal throne as part of your rap deal. That's unreasonable. All right. So Jason, what is your final hot and fresh paint Brett Ditton into a corner, trick him question?
Yes, so it's a two-parter in reference to Andrew's because the meal prep was super important. As far as meal prep goes daily, would you recommend that you eat the same thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, like the same rotation of 3 meals? Or is it better to switch it up? And then on top of that, how important is supplementing? Like with vitamins, protein, anything extra?
Real quick, that's two-parter questions. That's a mean question. Okay, so question one, part one, is should we eat the same meal every day? Is that right?
Right.
Okay, Brett, let's go with question number one. He's trying to trick you. I don't appreciate that kind of question there.
Yeah.
Jason.
So should you eat the same thing every day? So here's what we've seen results based, and here's kind of the nutritional side of it. So you want to first understand that you need to eat the rainbow, right? So you need to eat all different colors of vegetables and foods and fruits and all that. And so if you can get that in by eating all the same meals, then you're doing pretty good. Okay, but every different type of food has a little different nutritional profile, so I do recommend that you switch it up a little bit. Now, with that being said, it's almost impossible to do that with every single meal, and this is the problem that you'll see with a lot of nutrition plans is like they switch every single meal. Your breakfast is different every day, lunch different every day, dinner different every day, and that's like it's almost impossible to keep up with that. And so what we recommend people do is they keep their breakfast pretty similar. They keep their lunch pretty similar, and then they use their dinner for variety. And so, again, lunch similar, breakfast similar, dinner for variety. And so that helps you so that when you prep, you can prep nearly everything on the weekend, right? So you take an hour or two on the weekend, you prep out your entire week. You have your breakfast ready, you have your lunches ready, and then you have your dinners. Okay, and then on the flip side of that, you could take your dinner and you could just make extra, and then that's your lunch. So now really all we're prepping is we make sure we have our breakfast, and then we make sure we have our dinners because that leftover is going to be lunch the next day. And so the more you can keep it the same in those meals, the better off you're going to be, the better results you're going to get. Okay, now the second question, supplements. So what I recommend for everybody on supplements is, number one, eat a really healthy, nutritious diet. Okay, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what you want to do when it comes to supplements. Number two, if you have a question about supplements, you got to go to this website called examine.com, and they go through all of the research on supplements, and they're going to just tell you, yes, this is what it does, or no, this isn't what it does, or it needs more research. So again, that website is examine.com. If you have a question on any supplement, go there, because what I find is most people are wasting their money on supplements, and they're wasting a lot of their money on supplements when all they need to be doing is eating a really good, nutritious diet.
my final question I have for you today is, you talk about wasting money on supplements. What are the crappiest supplements you've seen? Ones where you go, that's just crap. And because you see it all the time. I mean, you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients over there at Cavell Fit in beautiful Boise, Idaho, right? Boise, Idaho. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Somebody out there says Boise, what? But Boise, home of the blue turf, right?
That's right. Smurf turf. Yep.
Home of a lot of potatoes. Am I correct? There's a lot of potatoes. There's potato farmers everywhere.
Yeah, well, not really, but we are home to Simplot, and Simplot is a large purveyor of potatoes. Yes.
Aren't you guys also home of Trader Joe's?
We're not home of Trader Joe's. We have Trader Joe's, but we're not home of Trader Joe's.
I don't appreciate you trying to manipulate me with the way you're answering these questions. No, I want to ask you seriously. The supplements, though. The supplements. Talk to me about the supplements. What are some supplements where people are just wasting their money?
Fat loss pills, fat loss supplements, those are the biggest waste of money. And in fact, those are going to be doing the opposite of what most people want. So most of those supplements are simply a big shot of some type of stimulant, whether it be caffeine or otherwise. And they haven't been proven to work. And the ones that maybe possibly did work, once you stopped taking them, they slowed down the metabolism and messed up the body so much that you gained all the weight right back. So stay away from, diet pills or weight loss pills or fat shredding pills or all that stuff. Those are one of the biggest wastes of money and time somebody could engage with.
There's a friend of mine who's not on the show today by the name of Andrew, and last name B. And I was going through his stuff, his bag at work. He has a bag he brings to work. Not the work I go to, but another place of work where, anyway. The point is, this man, Andrew, he has purchased a shake weight. And I've also found a copy of the 8-Minute Abs DVD series. Are those completely crap as well?
8-Minute Abs actually is fairly good if you just want to destroy your abdominals, but that's actually not a bad one. The shake weight, why don't you take it for a walk? It'll be all right.
Walk my shake weight.
Okay. Is there any other fitness stuff you see out there that's totally crap? Brett, you have the floor, man. Is there any other fitness where you go, this trend is stupid, this diet idea is stupid, this supplement's stupid, just stop doing these things?
Well, I don't want to go as far as calling any of them stupid because any physical activity is good. But there is a significant difference between somebody doing something that's really efficient and effective and somebody just doing it maybe more for the recreation side of things. So there's a lot of physical activity and fads out there that are more of a social gathering, more of a way to just go out and have fun. Some of the dance classes, Zumba, some of those things, that's great and that's really good activity and that'll help you get to your 150 to 300. But is it really going to help you get some muscle definition, that type of stuff? Probably not. So, I don't, anything in the realm of physical activity, go ahead and do it. But the better results that you want to get, the more important it is that you start looking at the things that are going to get you, the most bang for your buck.
Andrew, put that shake weight down. I'll put it. Put that shake weight down. Marshall. We've talked to him about this. How many times we said, don't bring the shake weight. It doesn't work.
I've told him at least twice.
It's happened a lot.
And Brett is a man with class and character. He's a man who is eloquent. He's an articulate man. And I feel like, though, if I read between the lines, he said, Andrew, quit being a knucklehead and using that shake weight.
Andrew, you're attacking the integrity of Brett by bringing that in here.
Brett, we will deal with this after the show. All right. Now, for all the members of the Thrive Nation out there who want to get in touch with you, Brett, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can obviously visit our website, Cavell, Kvell, fit.com, or, just send me a text if you want to talk about performance coaching. My phone number is 208-991-6537. Again, 208-991-6537.
All right, Thrive Nation, you heard it here. That's Brett Denton, the fitness expert, the founder of Cavell Fit in beautiful Boise, Idaho, home of Trader Joe's, home of the Blue Turf, home of Mr. Brett Denton. You're going to love going there. You should go check it out. You can meet Brett. You could also get a disproportionate amount of conveniently affordable potatoes if you visit him. And we like to end the show with a boom, Brett. We do the 3, the 2, the 1, then we end with a boom. And then so are you ready, Mr. Brett?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Marshall, you ready?
I'm ready.
Andrew, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Jason, are you ready?
So ready.
I'm ready. Hey, everybody, I'm from Delaware, and I'm ready. Here we go. 3, 2,
1,
whoa!